What is going on, YouTube? My name is JB, and I am back here today with yet another draft recap video. This time for the PBL, or Professional Battlers League Season 4. So, pretty excited to be back in the PBL. I was in Season 3, and at some point the league just sort of died out. You know, it happens with leagues, people become inactive, and we brought it back. So, I'm excited to be a part of it again, and I'm excited to, actually be a part of an all YouTubers league for once. So that's the thing about this season of the PBL, is that it is all YouTubers. So go check out their links in the description. I'll leave everyone in the league's link down there. Few people you might know or recognize from the channel, maybe not. Other than that, it's an all YouTubers league, upload required, 3DS, all that sort of nonsense. Even though it's not really nonsense, you get the point. Yeah. I drafted a pretty solid team in this league, I think. One of the more solid teams I've ever drafted. It's a little bit slower than I'd like, but that, that's hindsight, sort of thing. So I'll give you a little bit of the background for the league and the draft rules and whatnot. The rules in the league are pretty much just standard, like, Smogon OU clauses, so all that sort of stuff. Baton pass is allowed, though, one stat, so you can pass whatever you want. You can speed pass if you want. You can nasty pass. You can SD pass. Call mine. Oh, no, you can't call mine pass. You can pass one stat. You can pass any one stat. It's worth noting. So baton pass is allowed. All the other clauses are pretty simple, self-explanatory. The way the draft worked is it was a 10-person league, so snake format. It was points based, where OU Pokemon were 100 points, BL1 90, UU was 75, BL2 was 60, RU was 50, BL3 was 40, and then NU and below were 25 a piece. So that's how it was tiered, and Z crystals were 50. So Z crystals are the equivalent of an RU Pokemon. And you had 800 points to spend. You could do whatever you wanted with them. You could draft 8 OU mons. You could draft a crap ton of PU mons. I think it's like what? So 25, 4 is 100. Then times 8. You could draft 32 PU mons if you wanted. I think I did that right. If I did that wrong, then sue me. I wasn't a math major in college. I took one math class in college and never had to worry about it again. It's been forever since I've had to do math. The only thing I really do math-wise is Pokemon, so you know what? Fight me. I'm not smart. Anyway, getting into the draft and my team itself, I had the 6th pick in the first round, and then conversely the 5 on the way back up. Water, sorry. I'm parched. It's hard to talk. It's also 3:30 a.m., so I'm a little tired, and that's also why there's no webcam, because it's 3:30 a.m. Anyway. So I had the 6 and the 5 pick in, the rounds. So I was smack dab in the middle, which is not where you want to be. You want to be towards the beginning or towards the end of a snake draft format style, because you can, sort of secure yourself more picks that way. Being in the middle, like every round, you're forced to pretty much just wait and see. Like, you can't really secure any picks for yourself. You can't, really guarantee anything for yourself. So you're more likely to get sniped if you're in the middle of the pack. So it's a little rough, but I think I was able to do all right with it. I was able to get most of the things I wanted. I did get sniped a little bit in my UU portion of the draft, where there were a few UU mons I wanted that got taken. Other than that, though, I think I did all right for myself. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is one of the more overall solid teams I've ever drafted. So, getting into the first mon, I knew I wanted to grab something that I could sort of mold my entire team around, and sort of, just have a mon that's really good. I know it sounds really stupid and really, obvious that you'd want to draft a really good Pokemon early, but hey, I left some really good stuff on the board to get this, but I went for a mon that I decided to go with something Good lord, I am just so bad. I apologize. It's 4 a.m. This is my like 5th attempt at making this video too. So let me just apologize for that. Anyway, the mod I took with my 6th overall pick in the first round, I went ahead and grabbed Manaphy. Now Manaphy is a mon that I had in season 3 of the PBL. And in the games I did play in that season, it was a monster. It did so much. And, you know, Weavile, Jesus Christ, Manaphy is just one of those mons that has always been good in Draft League and will always be good in Draft League as long as it has access to the move Tail Glow. It can just boost its special attack +3 and just proceed to sweep through teams. So I decided I just want to go ahead and grab pure power with my first pick, and that's what I did. Manaphy is, you know, another thing about it is it's very versatile. It hits a lot of things hard. It has very good coverage moves, things like Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Grass Knot, Psychic. Let's see, what else you got, Manaphy? Of course, Tail Glow, Scald, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, all sorts of, you know, just really strong special attacks. It also has U-Turn if you need to get out in a pinch. It can also do some weird supporty things. Gets Heal Bell, Light Screen, and Reflect, so it gets screens. What else you got? Toxic support, obviously. It can do weird things like Acid Armor and Aqua Ring if you know, want to go something really weird like that. It can do things for you. But the main thing I wanted with Manaphy was just pure raw power, and that's what Manaphy does very well. And another thing I want to mention here is with my Z Crystal pick, I didn't take this anywhere near. I think I took it like in the 6th or 7th round, something like that. But I drafted Waterium Z as my Z Crystal, mainly for Z Rain Dance support if I want to go that route, and also just spamming, you know, stuff like, you know, Z Hydro Pumps and whatnot when I need to secure a certain KO or whatever. I promise you guys, I was not like this nasally and like congested 2 minutes before I clicked record. I think it's just some sort of curse. Like I'm just sort of cursed to not be able to talk. I don't know. Maybe YouTube's not for me. If that wasn't evident by the fact that I suck at it. But other than that, yeah. Z Rain Dance is fantastic because the ability Hydration allows Manaphy to heal itself of any status condition in the rain, so that's absolutely fantastic. Good little combination there to keep Manaphy healthy, so you don't have to necessarily waste a move slot on Heal Bell on Manaphy itself, or you know, I actually have quite a bit of Heal Bell support on this team, as you can see down there at the little bottom thing. It kind of spoiled my team for you guys, but whatever. So Manaphy, raw power, hit real hard, click Hydro Vortex, click Z Rain Dance if I need to. So moving on to my next pick, I knew I wanted to get a really good Rapid Spinner. That was something I wanted, and I also wanted to make sure I got myself a good Steel type. And I felt like I potentially could have waited to draft this mon, but then again, at the time of the draft, I thought there's no way it was going to last, because I know there's someone in the league that really, really likes to use Excadrill in draft leagues, so I just spoiled it. It's Excadrill. I knew there was someone who really liked to use this mon in draft leagues, so I wanted to grab it early. But it turns out that most people didn't really draft a whole lot of OU Pokemon, as weird as that may sound. People went with real comfort picks and that sort of thing in this draft, which is a little bit odd to me, but I mean, because I don't really have too many like comfort picks. I draft Pokemon based on the team I'm building, not necessarily what I like. I mean, there's like no Pokemon I like really dislike. Anyway, I knew there was a guy who really liked using Excadrill in draft league, so I wanted to grab it early, and it turns out it was like one of the mine and Austin, aka Garchomp the Gods, picks were pretty much like, aside from a few outliers, pretty much the only OU Pokemon that went in the first 2 rounds. It was really weird. It was really, really weird to me. Anyway, Excadrill is a fantastic Rapid Spinner, one of the absolute best in the game, and it is of course a Steel type. Doesn't have the best stats defensively in the world, but it makes up for that with good HP, incredible attack stat, and 88 base speed is solid. Not the best in the world, but it outspeeds those base 80s, base 85s. There's a lot of those mons in that little speed tier. So it's nice to be able to outspeed things like that. As for abilities, the only relevant ability in this league is actually going to be Mold Breaker, unless someone decides to pick up Tyranitar. Actually, no, I am pretty sure there's well, obviously only one guy can have it. There is a team that has Hippowdon, so I could potentially have fun with that if he brings Hippowdon against me, which I don't know why he would, considering I do have an Excadrill. So that's a little thing to note whenever I play whoever it is. I forget who drafted it off the top of my head. It's been like a week since this draft, so whatever. But anyway, really high attack stat on Excadrill. Mold Breaker is a fantastic ability. The Pokemon's moves and their effects ignore the abilities of other Pokemon. So essentially, I can Earthquake Levitators is what it boils down to with the main thing here. I can Earthquake Rotoms, which is pretty nice. So yeah, Earthquake, Iron Head, Stealth Rock, and Rapid Spin. Probably the most common set you'll see me run. I could potentially run like a Scarf variant with like Stone Edge or what's it called? Rock Slide or whatever. Actually, what the did you guys know that Excadrill doesn't get Stone Edge? That's weird to me. But yeah, you could potentially run a Choice Scarf variant, but most of the time it's just sort of going to be there as a very, very good Rapid Spinner and spamming stab moves. So yeah, that's what Excadrill's there for. It doesn't do a whole lot. Like, it's not very versatile, but what it does amongst the best in the game. And that is set up rocks and Rapid Spin. It's one of the best hazard control mons in the game and can potentially destroy teams if need be because it has incredible attack, physical attack. So moving on to our next Pokemon, and this is a mon that I have wanted to try for so stinking long in Draft League in the formats. I finally pulled the trigger on drafting this thing, and that is the lovely Mega Gardevoir. This thing is an absolute monster. Look at that special attack stat. 165 special attack, 135 speed F, base 100 speed, which you will notice is a little bit of a trend. My team isn't very fast, but I do have quite a few base 100 mons, funnily enough. Or base 100 speed, rather. I have a couple base 100 mons, as you guys can see. Anyway, for those of you who know or don't know, I drafted Mega Gallade in the PCA, which is pretty much just the inverse of Mega Gardevoir, obviously. It has 165 special attack. It has a little bit lower speed F. I think it's like 110 speed F on Mega Gallade, and it has 110 speed or something like that. Anyway, this thing, Mega Gardevoir, is a little bit bulkier and a little bit slower. So that's the difference there. So I'm comfortable with the family here, but I've always wanted Mega Gardevoir. I've always just wanted to use this thing, not necessarily for the, incredible special wall-breaking potential. This thing is actually an incredible support mon. And let's just, if you guys want to pay attention to that base 85 attack stat for a second, your boy might be running some Pixelate body slams on some fools. You might not be expecting that. Nah, I mean, I may or may not. Also, Pixelate double edge. Base 85 attacks, nothing to lie about. I mean, you're definitely not going to expect it. You're going to be switching in your special walls. You're going to get bopped by a freaking Pixelate boosted double edge. You feel me? I don't even think I'm that stupid, but who knows? Obviously the things that Mega Gardevoir does, it clicks incredibly strong hyper voices. It clicks stab psychic, stab Psyshock. And it just runs through teams that aren't prepared for it. And yeah, that's what it, people expect it to do. It gets Calm Mind, so it can set up. It doesn't really have the best recovery options. It does Pain Split as recovery, which isn't the best, but it'll do if you need it to. But I want to point out this thing's support moves. When you see a Mega Gardevoir, especially on the ladder, you don't expect it to be a support set, but in Draft League, you can really do some fun things with this. So some of the support moves it gets, Destiny Bond, Disable, Encore, Heal Bell, Healing Wish, one of my favorite moves. I love to mess around with Healing Wish, doing weird things with it. It gets Light Screen and Reflect. I don't know why you'd run it on a mon that doesn't have Light Clay, though, but if I really need it to live a specific hit, I can do that. Pain Split, like I mentioned, it gets Memento, which, if you don't know, lowers the target's attack and special attack by 2 stages, and the user faints, so it's sort of like Healing Wish, but instead of a buff to your incoming switch in, it nerfs or it debuffs the opponent's Pokemon. So it's pretty cool there. Painful, like I mentioned. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it like 4 times now, but I'm losing my place. Taunt, Thunder Wave, Trick Room, and Will-O-Wisp. It gets so much just weirdness that I think it'll be fun to mess around with. Do cool things. Obviously, if I need it to, it will absolutely destroy some teams. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. So fun to play with. I've wanted to use this Pokemon for so long, and I'm finally getting a chance to. So this is one of those Pokemon that I feel I could do a lot of cool things with. So if you play me, if you're watching this and you're in the league, you don't know what I'm going to do with this Mega Gardevoir, be ready for it. That's another weird thing. That the people in the league will actually watch my content, potentially. Well, I'm not saying they will watch it, but they will know that I am also making content about the league. Because every league I've been in hasn't had any other YouTubers other than Austin or Garchomp, the God. I'm gonna call him Austin because whatever. If he gets mad at me, then fuck him. Damn it, I'm trying not to cuss on the channel anymore. But yeah, it's just a little bit. It's a different feeling because it's just different. I mean, Simon Shardax is also a YouTuber, but he doesn't really watch my Pokemon content. He watches my other stuff. Anyway, it's a weird little thing. I don't know. Moving on to our next Pokemon. This is a mon that I used in the PCA for a little bit, for a couple weeks. I didn't really bring it too much as an offensive threat. The 1 week I did bring it, I had it for 3 weeks and then traded it for Goodra. The 1 week I did bring it, it did really well in a support role. I ran like Earthquake, Taunt, Dragon Tail, and Toxic or something like that. But it got so many buffs in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I decided to bring it back. Decided to go ahead and bring it back. At this point in the draft also, I want to mention that I had blown 290 of my 800 points. So I wanted to, start trying to slow down on the points and hit a lower tier real quick. So I went ahead and grabbed probably the best RU-Mon. In my humble opinion, I think Salazzles technically has like a higher viability ranking for whatever reason. But I grabbed Como. And this thing is no longer just a dragon type that can sometimes hit hard. This thing is a terrifying dragon fighting type. For those of you who do not know, in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Como received 2 moves that just made it so much better. It got Close Combat and Draining Punch, 2 stab fighting moves that just... Oh man, I don't have enough good things to say about Como. It's a little bit lacking on speed at base 85 speed, but it gets both Dragon Dance and Autotomize to make up for that. Solid base 75 HP, but just look at the middle stats here. Just look at them. 110 attack is phenomenal. 125 physical defense is, I think, the highest on my team. I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's actually the highest on my team. Yeah, it is. But it's just that's a phenomenal stat in and of itself. 100 special attack, very good. So you can use either physical or special, and you're not really gonna miss much from either way. 105 SPDF is fantastic as well. So those middle stats are just so effing good. It actually feels like a pseudo legendary that it was meant to be. The moves this thing gets, it gets so much. I'm pretty much just gonna read like literally all of its moves on Showdown, so get ready. This is gonna be long. This is gonna be annoying, but deal with it. Aqua Tail, Autotomize, Bulk Up, Clanging Sails, Close Combat, Draco Meteor, Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Tail, Drain Punch, Earthquake, Endeavor. That's a fun move. Fire Punch, Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, hidden power options, Hyper Voice for crying out loud, Ice Punch, Iron Head, Low Kick, Outrage, Poison Jab, Rock Polish, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, Stealth Rock, Super Power, Sword Stance, Taunt, Thunder Punch, Toxic, X Scissor, Aerial Ace if you need to hit a flying move for whatever reason. I'm going into its quote-unquote usually useless moves now. Belly Drum for F's sakes. Counter. There's like a sub-counter set that's very good and very annoying to deal with. Dragon Breath. I don't know why I read that. What else? Iron Tail if you really need to do more damage. And Iron Head just isn't going to cut it. Sky Uppercut. I don't know why you'd ever run that now, but you still can if you want to. Stomping Tantrum's a funny move. It got a little weird there at the end. But just the amount of good moves this thing gets. coupled with its incredible stats and the fact that it finally has fighting moves that are good, make this just one of the best mons in, like, I could do so much with this thing. I'm so excited to do whatever I want with this, and then I love Como, man. I don't have anything else to say. I love it. It has 3 fantastic abilities. I didn't mention them yet. Bulletproof, can't be hit by moves like Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Focus Blast, any sort of ball or bomb move, it doesn't hit. Soundproof, it's immune to sound-based moves like Hyper Voice, or I can't really think of any others like off the top of my head. Why it's so good and soundproof? It's Boom Burst is another one. It actually counters Como itself, so Como is kind of a counter to Como. If you have soundproof and you switch in on opposing Como going for Commonium Z, the Clanger Soul Blaze, it actually doesn't work. So Como is actually a Como counter, for those of you who don't know that. And Overcoat is actually really good too. It's immune to powder moves, so it's immune to Spore, Stun Spore, Poison Powder, anything like that. There's probably more I'm missing. Probably Strength Stop, if anything has that. I'm not really sure if it works like that or not. I'm not entirely sure. But it's also immune to damage from Sandstorm and Hail. So just fantastic abilities, fantastic versatility, fantastic stats all around. Como is here to take souls, and it will do just that. So moving on to the next Pokemon. Like I said just before Como, I was trying to stop splurging so much on points, because at this point I had 340 points, so I've always blown half of my points on 4 mons, right? That's a little bit of a problem. So I had penciled in a UU fire type that I wanted, and that was Entei. I really wanted to grab Entei because, you know, it's just a strong, hard-hitting fire type that gets access to extreme speed, and I wanted an extreme speed mon. I like having extreme speed. But for whatever reason, Entei went with the first pick of the second round. So the guy who had the 10th pick on the wheel pick, he took Entei with his second pick. Or no, it went the pick after that, so it went 12. So my bad. So the guy who had 9 took it second in the second round. So it was the 11th overall pick of the entire draft. So I'm like, well, crap. There goes my fire type so stinking early. So there wasn't really much I could even do about it. There was literally nothing I could have done about it unless I took it with my first pick, which was, you know, there was no way I was going to do that. So I started looking through UU, and I'm like, okay, there's a few cool fire types here. Infernape is a mon I've always wanted to use. I don't care that I just took another fighting type. We'll pencil in Infernape there, if nothing else. Infernape was gone by the time it got back to me, or by the time I was looking for my fire type. Like, all right, that's a little annoying. I can go Arcanine then. I like Arcanine a lot. I used it in the PCA. It was I used it in the PASL rather, season 1, and it was my MVP of that league. I won that league with Arcanine as my MVP. So I'm like, okay, I like Arcanine. I'm comfortable with it. I can use that. It was gone. I'm like, well, damn. I guess I'll take Darmanitan. That was gone. So I'm starting to look through some of the lower tiers like RU, Inium, PU. I'm just like, okay, there's Magmortar, Embor, stuff like that. And I'm just like, all right, well, it's nothing here I'm really all that excited about. So I decided to go back up to OU. And I realized that no one took this little thing here. No one took Victini, and I'm just like, thanks, guys. I'll splurge a little bit again. I'll go over my half of my points here for 5 Pokemon, because Victini's pretty good. In case you guys didn't know, it's a really good Pokemon, especially in this here draft league format. I don't think I really need to explain why, but I will anyway. Base 100 mon, really good base 100 stats all around, pretty solid. Not the fastest thing in the world, but everything else is good. Can take hits if you need to. Can hit hard, both physically and specially. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Victory Star. It has a lot of inaccurate moves. Its ability makes up for it. Let's go ahead and talk about some of them moves, eh? We got Blue Flare, Bolt Strike, both 130 base power. We got Dazzling Gleam and Energy Ball. Those are pretty cool. Pretty much any fire type move you could ever want. Fire Blast, Fire Punch, Flame Charge, Flamethrower, Flare Blitz, all that sort of stuff. Fusion Bolt and Fusion Flare. 100% accurate, 100 base power, electric and fire moves. Pretty cool. Power Up Punch is cool. Quick attack for priority if you need it. Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, also nice. Thunderbolt, Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave, Trick Room, U-Turn, Wild Charge, Will-O-Wisp, Stabs and Headbutt. But there's one move I just really want to mention here, and that is that's V-Create. V-Create is 180 base power, physical fighting type move that, due to Victory Star, will never miss. Sure, it lowers my defense, special defense and speed by 1, but I can run a wide open if I need to. Or I could just run a freaking Choice Band and absolutely ruin something's day. Victini is a monster, and it should absolutely not have gotten back to me this late in the draft. Thank you to everyone in the league for allowing me to pick up Victini in the 5th round. You guys are great. Not much else to say about it. It's going to destroy whatever is in front of it. Thanks, guys. So, now that I've done being an asshole for a little bit, we can go ahead and talk about our next mon. I wanted a flying type. I had my eyes on Crobat. It was gone by this point. That was my other option here. I really had my eyes on Crobat. Couldn't grab it. So, I wanted, just a flying type, a defogger. I looked at Mandibuzz, but I used that in the past, and I don't really like reusing too many mons. I reuse a lot of mons, but I mean, hey, I didn't feel like grabbing Mandibuzz. I could have grabbed it. I wanted to use something different, so I went ahead and grabbed Tornadus Eye or Tornadus Incarnate. Main reason being, I like the ability Prankster, and I like being able to toy around with the thought of running Prankster Rain Dance and then being able to spam 100% accurate Hurricanes. I really like the idea of being able to try to do that. I think that could be a lot of fun. This thing also gets a ton of really cool moves. Like I mentioned, it gets Prankster Defog, which is nice. It also gets Defiant, which is another good ability. So you have to be careful if I bring this thing, if you click Defog against me, because, I mean, hey, it's like defogging a Bisharp, obviously. If you defog away my hazards, I get a +2 attack boost if I predict that and go into this. So, could be fun. It doesn't really have the best flying type stab, honestly, outside of Hurricane. It gets Air Slash, which is a good move, but it doesn't have any physical flying moves. It gets Acrobatics and Fly, that's it. So I could run a non-item and have Acrobatics. So I could run a Seed potentially, and then if I'm playing a Tapu team, run a Seed, and then be able to click powerful Acrobatics. I could do it that way. But also it gets things like Priority Bulk Up could be fun. Foul Play's a good move. Grass Knot's a good move. Knockoff is a fantastic move. I already mentioned Hurricane. You get Sleep Talk. I don't know why the fudge did I just read Sleep Talk? It was right above Sludge Wave and Sludge Bomb. He gets access to both of those. Prankster Substitute, Prankster Tailwind, and Prankster Taunt are huge reasons I took this thing. It's also the fastest mon on my team at base 111, base 125 special attack, base 115 attack. Solid at best. Defense is not very good. 79 HP is alright, and not the best defenses in the world, but I mean, it'll do. So he's not really here to be a wall, it's more here to be a fast support mon and click weird things with Prankster. That's sort of what you're here to do. Could potentially sweep if I am in the right situation. Gets Crunch and Dark Pulse as well. Good moves there. Overall, versatile mon, does a lot of things well. It has a lot of cool, really fun Prankster options to play around with. It's a good defogger. So those are the main reasons I took Tornadus, and I'm happy with it. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be fun to play with, and I think it'll be a good member of the team. So moving on, at this point, I have spent probably close to 500 points out of my 800. I think I had my Z Crystal as well at this point. I don't really remember the order of things, but if I didn't have my Z Crystal, freaking oh well. At this point in the draft, I needed to start building up a little bit more bulk. I had some, but not enough, in my opinion. So I started to build up a little bit more bulk here, as you can see. With this pick, I just went ahead and grabbed Umbreon. I wanted a good dark type. I like having a good dark type. I couldn't really think of any offensive dark types I wanted outside of Sneasel, but I didn't really feel like wasting a pick on Sneasel, especially at this point. And as you can see, I ended up with another dark type anyway, so we'll talk about that later here in a little bit. Actually, hold up. I need to make sure I get this order right. Actually, I can do it in whatever order I want. It doesn't matter. Okay. Actually, no, I can't because the layout will be weird. What's the right order? Okay, it goes double dark type. Okay. All right. I needed to check the layout so I didn't screw it up. So I didn't do something out of order, and then the layout would look weird for the video. So I took Umbreon. Things that Umbreon does, it has incredible HP, defense, and physical defense. 95 HP, 110 physical defense, and 130 SPDF. 65 attack, 65 speed, and 60 special attack are all pretty meh. But I mean, they're not. It's not the end of the world. They could be used if need be, to speed creep something potentially or run weird. Curse Umbreon sets, something stupid like that, like Curse Payback. I know is a thing that I've ran into way too many times on the ladder. It's just annoying, but the real strength of Umbreon here is, of course, Wish Passing and Heal Belling. It gets access to the move Foul Play, which is nice. Its ability Synchronize is also very good, especially in comparison with Heal Bell. If I get any sort of status, Paralysis, Burn, Poison, my opponent also gets that status unless it's a Steel type, and then it can't get, unless it can't get that effect, I should say. So like if it's a Poison type, it can't be poisoned. If it's Electric type, it can't be paralyzed. Fire type can't be burned, etc., etc., etc. But if like a normal type clicks Toxic on me, then it'll get Toxic too, something like that, or whatever. That's the sort of thing there. For those of you who may or may not know how Synchronize works, but the big thing here is Wish Pass. The big thing here is Heal Bell. The big thing here is keeping itself alive and annoying my opponent into oblivion. So that's the main reason I took Umbreon. It's also a Pursuit Trap option if I really need it to be. I mean, I have another option for that as well. But again, Wish Pass, Cleric things could potentially set up screens with it. I don't think I'd do that, though. I think I have better options for screens. Actually, it only gets Reflect. It doesn't get Light Screen. Does it get Light Screen? Hold on. Oops. No, it does not get Light Screen. It only gets Reflect, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Wish Passing the big thing here. It's a really fat mon that will annoy the crap out of my opponents, and that's exactly what I want it to do. So, next up on the docket, I wanted a Poison type. Like I said earlier, I wanted Crobat. Like, I had my eyes on Crobat. I wanted to draft it, but I missed out on it. It got taken away from me like 3 picks before I was going to take it. It happens. It happens. I also thought about, there were 3 other mons I thought about. There was Alolan Muck, Weezing, and Garbodor. Those are the other 3 poison types I thought about. I ended up taking Drapion, as you can see, but I want to go through the reasoning of the other 3 mons too. I thought about Alolan Muck, but I didn't want to use that spend that many points, so that's why I didn't take that. And then as for Garbodor and Weezing, Garbodor could have been cool because it gets both Spikes and T-Spikes, but its stats are just not that great. It has base 80s in defense, which meh, and it can't really hit at all, anything hard at all. And then Weezing, the main reason I didn't take it, it's a Levitator, so it has no weakness other than Psychic. It also gets T-Spikes and Will-O-Wisp and Cool Support moves. But the main reason I didn't take it is because it doesn't absorb T-Spikes. That was the main reason I did not take Weezing. Again, although I like Weezing and I have used it in the past, it's a good mon, it's really good in format. I wanted something to actually be able to absorb T-Spikes if I am going to draft a Poison type this time around. So, although I literally just drafted a Dark type, I decided that I wasn't going to let a Gunmon pass me up just because of that. And it's also technically not a Fairy Resist, which is another reason I was sort of wanting Crobat / Garbodor / Weezing. So it's something that would actually resist Fairy. It's only, Drapion only is neutral against it, which is a little bit worrisome, but I have a few things that are pretty good against Fairy already, so I don't think it'll be the end of the world. I don't have like a glaring Fairy weakness. My only weakness to it is really Coma-O, and I can, cover that up pretty well when I need to. And Umbreon, but Umbreon's not gonna really die to any one hit anyway. So the main thing here with Drapion is it is a fantastic both offensive / physically defensive support mon if need be. It has base 95 speed, which is really good, 75 SPDF, 60 special attack, 110 defense is really, really, really good, one of the highest on my team. 90 attack is very solid, very usable, as well as 70 HP being alright. The main things that Drapion does, it is a fantastic pursuit trapper, really good at spamming knockoff. It gets cool, powerful stab move in Poison Jab, as well as having T-Specs option of its own. Taunt is another good move that it gets. Gets Whirlwind to really annoy things. It also gets Roar. I mean, they do the same thing. X-Scissors, the thing it gets, but it also gets good, coverage with it gets the Elemental Fang, so it doesn't get Thunder Fang for some reason. It gets Fire and Ice though. Shout out to Game of Thrones. It gets Earthquake, it gets Crunch, and Aquatella. It gets Agility, so it can do some cool things. Definitely can do some cool things, but it's a fantastic pursuit trapper. It's Poison type, and I like it. It's one of my favorite Pokemon design-wise, so I took it. That's pretty much all there is to that. So, next up, I was, starting to build up a little bit of ground weaknesses I am known to do in draft leagues. I always seem to have a few mons that are weak to ground. No matter how hard I try, that always seems to be one of my bigger, more glaring weaknesses as I start to get, into the rounds and start to, really look at my team like, oh, crap. I have 3 things weak to ground. Better start getting some resistances. So, I wanted a grass type. And I needed a ghost type. And it is, so knowing those 2 types, there's 2 or 3, there's 3 pretty good options. There's Delmise, what's it freaking called? Pumpkaboo, not Pumpkaboo. What's the stupid pumpkin? I'm sorry guys, it's 4 a.m., forgive me. What's the stupid pumpkin called? Where the hell is it? I know it's in PU. Gorgeist. There's Delmise, Gorgeist, and the mon I ended up taking, which was, of course, Decidueye. So, I got a ghost type, got a grass type. They actually is much, much better than I thought it was. When I was looking through those 3 mons to decide which one I wanted, I had Delmise in the last season of the PBL, and it did some pretty cool things. It was alright. I didn't really want to use Gorgeist because this doesn't get a whole lot of cool utility. It's just sort of pretty much just a Leech Seed thing. It's pretty much just like just there. It's not gonna do a whole lot of things. It's gonna do one thing. It's like the set's like Leech Seed, Toxic, Stab Move, Protect or something dumb. So, and then I scrolled through the Decidueye and I'm like, oh, hey, this thing is actually really freaking good and gets a lot of really good moves. So yeah, it was really a no-brainer once once I actually looked through the move pool. Looking at its stats, it leaves a little bit to be desired in a few areas, mainly physical defense, wish it was a little bit higher. Knock this thing down to base 50 speed, give it 95 phys def, and you have a really good mon, in my opinion. But, I mean, hey, it's solid the way it is. 78 HP is alright, 75 physical defense is okay, 70 speed's a little bit lacking, but is also, it's alright, it's okay. But the big selling point here is obviously it's a physical attack at 107 and a special attack and special defense at base 100 each, so very, very usable stats in those 3 categories. Cool things this thing does. It gets both Nasty Plot and Sword Stance as well as Baton Pass. So I can Nasty Pass and I can SD Pass with this thing. Have fun with that. It also gets cool things like Brave Bird. It's another defog option, which is very cool. And then from there, let's go ahead and talk about some of its offensive moves. It gets Energy Ball or Giga Drain if you want to be special. Grass Knot even as well. It gets Haze, which is a fantastic move. It eliminates all stat changes. You can't set up, your opponent's starting to get set up. Send this thing out, click Haze, boom, no more setup. It gets Leaf Blade and Leaf Storm, so you can click a Specs Leaf Storm or Nasty Pot Leaf Storm if you really want. Do cool things like that. Roost, very good move. Heals 50% HP. Seed Bomb's a cool move. I don't know why you click Seed Bomb over Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade's better, but hey, you get Seed Bomb too. Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw, so you want to be physical or special. Shadow Sneak, good priority. Spirit Shackle, its signature move. Base 80 power physical ghost move that prevents the target from switching out, so It's basically the same thing as Anchor Shot from Delmines, but I mean it's a little bit cooler because it's a bow and arrow. I always play bow and arrow characters. Hanzo was the first hero I spawned in with Overwatch. On the very, 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 very rare chance I get to play D&D, I play a ranger / ranged fighter sort of thing. Other things it gets Toxic, Tailwind, and U-Turn, and Synthesis, Sucker Punch. It gets a lot of cool moves. Bow and arrows are cool. And I actually really, really like this mod, and I think it's going to do much better than I ever would have thought it would. It's going to do a lot of cool things, and I never thought I would actually enjoy using a mod like this. And here I am, and I'm very excited for it. I think it's actually going to get a lot more usage than I had originally thought after, at the time. So I'm really happy with it. Next mod, I wanted a normal type. There were a few I tossed around. Picking up Tiny again, aka Snorlax. But, I wanted to go a different route. I wanted to pick something I haven't picked before. So it was between Tauros, Buffalon, and Miltank. 3 cow things, a buffalo, a bull, and an actual cow. So I really wanted Afro Bull. Afro Bull is one of my favorite Pokemon design-wise. I love Buffalon. Tauros is cool, it gets sheer force, and is really fast, but I decided I wanted a little bit more bulk. So I went ahead and went with Miltank. It's a really cool mon. I actually really like Miltank. Shout out to Whitney. You guys know Whitney if you've played Pokemon at all in your life. You know Whitney's Miltank. It's really annoying. But its stats are actually fairly decent all around aside from special attack. I wish it was Spadef was a little bit higher. Just reverse its Spadef and speed, for crying out loud, Game Freak. Like, why does Miltank need to have base 100 speed? It really doesn't. Give it base 100 Spadef and make it good. Base 70 speed is more than enough. But, 95 HP is solid, 105 defense is pretty damn good, 80 attack is usable. But, things that Miltank does well, it's another heal battle option. It spams Body Slam. It has Milk Shrink to keep itself alive, as well as being another Stealth Rock option. It was the main tipping point for me at this point. I was like, oh, it's a Stealth Rock option? Boom, there we go. Miltank it is. Because I only really have, a couple Stealth Rock options. I have Komao, potentially, and then mainly Excadrill is going to be our Rock Setter. So, and now I have another option here in Miltank. So that's always nice to have multiple options for things like that. But other than that, it's not really too much else to talk about with Miltank. It's solid normal type, gets a lot of good coverages as you would expect from a normal type, and is really good at just being fat and annoying, paralyzing targets, statusing targets, and keeping itself alive. So moving on to the next mon, I hadn't picked an electric type yet. There were a couple that I was thinking about that got sniped. I can't even remember off the top of my head. So once one of them got, I think it was, what was it? Raikou? Yeah. Once Raikou got sniped, I'm just like, well, alright, screw it. I'm just going to not even worry about it. I'm just going to go with the mon I know so dang well. If you watch my NADL draft review, I picked this mon up there. And I went a little bit more in depth as to why. And that is, of course, Electivire. It's a mon that I am extremely comfortable with. It has very good stats. I'm just gonna speed through this. 123 attack, 95 special attack, and 95 speed. So it's very usable on both physical and special side of things. More so physical, obviously, but it gets a ton of versatility both physically and specially. So that's the main reason I just went ahead and took the comfort pick. And Electivire gets a very fantastic ability in Water Drive. So if it gets hit by an electric move, it gets a +1 speed. I haven't even talked about abilities for the last 3 months, but they've been on screen for you guys. Sorry, it's 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. guys. Cut me a little slack, all right? Moving on to the last mod. Oh, duh. Looking at the last mod reminds me of the electric type I wanted. So, funny story. Funny story. I wanted Galvantula. I had planned on Galvantula. I was like, looking through my list, planning out my draft. I'm like, oh, I want to use Galvantula again. I used it in the mono type draft literally almost a year ago at this point. I'm like, okay, that would be cool. It'd be cool. Actually, use it in a non-mono league. And I'd planned on it. Until it went 11th overall, or first pick in the second freaking round. The dude took Galvantula super early. I mean, hey, he got the mon he wanted. Damn it. Ruined my whole freaking draft. that dang early. No, I'm kidding. So I went ahead and grabbed Araquanid here. I wanted to get webs just cause I wanted to mess around with webs. And hey, it's a pretty good web setter. Got it in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Also gets a cool thing like Magic Coat, which bounces back certain non-danger moves like opponent Stealth Rock, stuff like that. There's an Araquanid set that was running around a little bit ago with Magic Coat, Sticky Web, Liquidation, and Leech Life. I'm pretty sure was the set. And, it's probably similar to the sort of thing I'm going to run here. Water Bubble is a pretty good ability. It's pretty much makes fire type moves actually resisted without technically being resisted because it's part bug. So, hey, it's pretty much a fire resistance. And its water type moves are ×2 instead of ×1.5 with stab. So, pretty dang good there. So, Liquidation is actually really going to hurt coming off of this thing. But mainly here for web support. I don't know too much about this, and I'm not entirely sold on the idea of it. I think there's a few better options out there in the free agent pool for my team. But another thing worth noting about it is it's something else I could potentially slap my Z Crystal on, my Waterium Z, as I do only have one Z Crystal. There are a few people with two. I think there's a couple of people who drafted two Z Crystals, so I mean that was their prerogative. They planned that out, but I only ended up with one, which is the way I intended my draft to go, for what it's worth. But yeah, I could potentially, click Hydro Vortex off of Liquidation, so it'll actually do quite a bit of damage. I'm pretty sure Water Bubble works with Z moves. If it doesn't, then oh well. But again, I'm not entirely sold on this being the long-term answer as my final mon, because there's a Pokemon I really have my eyes on that I have enough points for. It's in the same tier as this, that has not been drafted, so I'm looking at picking up something like that. I'm not gonna name it because people in the league could see that. So that's the team, friendos. It's one of my overall favorite teams. Towards the end of the draft, it got a little bit more weird / unsure of itself in a way, but I think it's something that I'm going to be able to do a lot of really cool things with. It's one of the most versatile teams I've ever drafted, which, if you know anything about me in draft leagues, that's what I go for. That's the thing I go for the most in leagues, is versatility, and this team is nothing if not versatile. And I love that about it. I absolutely love that about this team. It's very, very versatile. It hits incredibly hard. Even though there is a little bit of common weaknesses. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to patch that up if I really put my head into it and figure out the right Pokemon to patch it up. If I even need to. That's a big if. That's a pretty big if I even really need to patch it up. The main question mark here is, like I said, Araquanid. There is a mon that I do have my eyes on, but hey, I may end up needing Araquanid before I pull the trigger on that free agency acquisition. So that's a team. Let me know what you think of it. I am really excited to use this team. I am very, very excited to use this team and play around with the cool things that it could potentially do. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. There's the links to everyone else in the league in the description. Go check them out. They all make good content. And the league itself, battles start on January the 8th. As I'm recording this, it's 4 a.m. on the 4th, so it's kind of really still the 3rd for me, because I don't consider it the next day until I wake up. So it's the 4th. So they start on Monday. The battles start on Monday. It's coming Monday. And yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm freaking bad at outros, so see you guys when I start fighting people. Thanks for watching. Peace out.